What is going on, guys? Lawson here, doing something totally different today. I have in my hands a ToadFish rod and reel combo. Get ahead of it, not a sponsored video. Don't really even know that much about ToadFish, but I've seen these combos everywhere, and I thought it would be cool to make a video kind of reviewing and using and kind of seeing if this is worth the money, because I want to help you guys out and find out if this is a good combo, because I know a lot of the equipment I use is probably unrealistic for someone who might just be recreationally fishing here and there. You know, I have kind of dialed in exactly what I like to use. It's like high-end stuff, but you don't need that to catch fish. So this right here was $160 for the rod and the reel, and it is a 2500 size reel, and it is a medium light rod, 6 foot 8 inches. And we're gonna do a few different South Florida things here. We're gonna fish for peacock, largemouth, snook, tarpon, really just anything we can catch and bounce around and see if we can put this thing through the paces today and find out if the ToadFish combo is worth it. So let's get fish in and we'll talk about it while we fish. Oh my God. Holy cow, there's like a giant peacock sitting right here. Man, he didn't eat. It's not bad. I need my own doing with the line since I lined it myself. It's kind of crusty, like the line's bunching up, so I need to probably cast it out that way. And I'll walk all the way down to this bank here and reel it in, because it is like, you can see it's kind of like bunched up a little bit here and there. People could try with it. First fish on. I was kind of hoping for something maybe a little bigger than this. Kind of throwing this jerkbait, hoping a tarpon or a snook will smash it in this canal, or a big largemouth. Instead, we got a pequeño largemouth. The seal has been broken on the ToadFish with a enormously unimpressive bass. So let's hope we can catch a bigger one, because I can't really give you much information about fish like that. So, few things about it. Like I said in the beginning, $160 for this combo, 2500 spinning reel, 6 foot 8 medium light spinning rod. And they have a few different options, and it's also a 2-piece rod, which I am not a huge fan of. I don't actually own any 2-piece setups other than this now. And the thing about 2-piece rods is they are convenient because I can fold this up in my truck. But when you have a broken construction, it's not going to be as strong as a one solid blank, and things can tend to go wrong. If the rod twists a little bit here and there, you don't notice, you know, it's just another thing that can go wrong, but a lot of times it's not the end of the world. The reel here has 4 ball bearings, so ball bearings basically make things have less friction, so it would be smoother casting, further casting, easier reeling is the idea of ball bearings in a reel. 4 is kind of become like the minimum standard in nicer reels, and a lot of your Shimano and Daiwa, like my Daiwa BG, or no, my Daiwa Saltus that I fish with a lot, I believe has 6 in it, and so you know, it's okay. It has also a sealed system, or it says it's partially sealed, meaning that it could get wet, it could get some salt on it, and it won't corrode. But really, whether a reel is good or not is just a test of how long it holds up to me. That's great if a reel feels really smooth for a month or two, but it's how does it feel in 8 months when you use it a lot, or a year? So time will only tell with this. But we're gonna walk the bank. Drag feels smooth. Everything feels nice for now, you know? So we'll just see how it holds up. Go do it. Part of me wants to see if it'll probably. Oh wow, that was a peacock, I think. What the heck? Holy smokes! Right next to the bank. Jake and I are sitting there admiring a basilis lizard that's sitting here on the bank. Dude, it's a peacock. I honestly, like, I knew they're in here, but I've not actually caught one in this part. That's incredible. Oh baby. Got some very fine treble hooks here that I do not feel like getting hooked by. Now smart enough to leave my pliers in the car. A little South Florida special right there, small peacock bass. And while we were sitting there, we were looking at a basilis lizard, another non-native here to Florida. But that is a beautiful peacock right there, and we'll get her back in the water, actually probably a little him, and see if there's another bigger one waiting around for us. But we got a peacock, a largemouth. We'll see if we can catch a tarpon and a snook and have a good day. Beautiful. Off she goes. All right. First actual fish here on the bubble blade, or bubble blade. different.
Other video idea.
Different thing. First actual fish on the ToadFish Outfitters setup here. Drag performed well and smooth. So far, everything's doing well. I will say, so if you look at the rod seat here, it is different. It is not like a normal rod seat. It's their own design. It's supposed to be ergonomic, is what it says on their website. And it is pretty comfortable in your hand. I will say it does actually feel like a little weird to cast because it's just not what I'm totally used to. I've taken up a fishing rod nearly every day of my life, and so put something that's just different in my hand, it feels weird, but it is super comfortable to fish with so far. And we'll just see if it holds up, if we're able to catch a snook or a tarpon, if it really holds to the test of a big fish. All right, one observation I'll say so far. So this is fresh braid on this reel, which can tend to be a little loopy and troublesome, but I've had a lot of wind knots today, and that's typically a reel deal, like something to do with your reel. And fresh line, you will get more wind knots when you're using fresh braid because it doesn't have the memory and conforming of spiraling out. But yeah, I probably have had, I don't know, 6 or 7, you think, Jacob?
Yeah, you've had quite a bit.
More so than I normally have, like when I put new line on a reel. But nothing like crazy, but something to note. Dude, this is so beautiful, this water right here. It's like really clear. I can see like logs down there and different types of cichlids and bluegill. Ooh, what is that? Do you see that?
Yeah, it came up the wall.
Snook. That was crazy. What the heck? There's like a headway pushing down this little seawall right here.
I feel like that's literally been, because I've literally bought water stuff.
Oh my gosh! What the heck is that? Tarpon ate the spook. Dude, it literally hit the water and ate. What? All right, now we got a real fish to test out the, what brand is this?
Not a sponsor.
Definitely not a sponsor. Dude, he piped it. Oh man. How cool is that? So far, the ToadFish is doing well.
What rod and reel he's using?
Dude, to me, it's a rod and reel. It just needs to work and it needs to be functional. And so far, it's functional and it's working. And I'm so stoked that we got to get a tarpon on it. Dude, peacock bass, largemouth, and a tarpon. What a day. What a day we're having. That's okay. Honestly, that works out because unhooking a tarpon with a treble hook in its mouth sounds horrifying. Man, that was sweet. We got the best out of that little guy anyways. Better to leave him in the water. All right, continuing our walk down the canal, hoping to bang another tarpon or possibly a snook. Few thoughts on the reel as we use it more and more. Really, the main negative thing so far is wind knots. And I know I said that earlier, but since catching that tarpon, I had another little wind knot in my reel, and it just seems a little prone to wind knotting. That would probably be my only complaint, but you know, ergonomics, use-wise, it feels really great. It casts insanely far, like so ridiculously smooth and easy to throw. I will say, looking online, it says that the spool capacity of this 2500 size reel, which is what this is, should get about 250 yards of 15-pound braid. No. I put 15-pound braid on here myself, and we probably got like 70 yards, 80 yards on it. I know the 2500 had a smaller spool capacity than the 3000s we looked at, and really it's like, do I need 250 yards of line on a 2500 size reel? No, it definitely shouldn't need that much. So it's not a big deal, but it's just kind of another little thing about it. But I don't know, so far it's good. Let me pull up the phone real quick. I want to see how much drag it has. That's something I actually have not checked. Okay, the 2500 has 16 pounds of drag is what it claims on its website, which is really good. You know, my Corrado, which is a bait caster, but a really smooth Corrado, those have 11 pounds of drag, but those are used for bass. And the Daiwas, I think, have upwards, like probably around 20 or so. So, you know, nothing crazy, but that should be enough for a 2500 size reel if you're fishing for snook, redfish, small juvenile tarpon. 16 pounds is plenty. Got a gar coming in hot. Coming in hot. Look at that serpent. Oh my God, look at that headway coming down the bank. What the heck is that? We're sitting here screwing around with the gar. I will say one of my favorite things about walking out in the woods and fishing and doing this canal banging stuff is this right here, the amount of nature you get to see. How freaking cool is that? Couldn't tell if that was a water moccasin or just an eastern water snake, but it's just like my favorite part of doing like the land missions is you are a part of it. You know, when you're running a boat, you're gonna scare things away from a mile away running an engine, and getting to walk down and see a snake, sometimes seeing hogs or deer off in the distance, seeing gators. It's so good, man. Get out in nature, it's good for your soul. All right, we are about done here for the night. Darkness is coming and so is a giant storm. The ToadFish rod and reel combo. If I had to give this a rating, it'd be like a 6 out of 10. I don't know, I'm not blown away, but it's not bad at any means, other than the little wind knot issue. Who knows, maybe it's just a me error. I don't think it is, unfortunately, but really it got a lot of wind knots. But as a travel rod, I'll call it that, a travel rod, this thing would probably be pretty amazing. Would it be my main rod I use in my arsenal every single day? Probably not, but that's because I am like a gear snob. Like, to be truthful about it, I like things very specific. I like using specific setups for very certain things. But a generalist, if you needed a inshore combo to fish once a month, or you know, maybe a couple times a month here and there, to hop out of your truck, make a few casts, I don't see why this wouldn't be great. You know, it's 2-piece, it breaks down, and online on their website, they actually sell an Elite Carbon Series reel, which is $160 just for the reel. It's made out of carbon, so it's supposed to be lighter and fancier. And they also sell a 1-piece rod. If you do like the aesthetics of this whole entire setup, which I think is probably the highlight of this rod and reel, is just the aesthetics of it. Beautiful colored handles, the design is unique and interesting looking. I even love the font, and just, it's a really visually appealing rod. And from a use perspective, it did well today. Handled a small tarpon, caught a peacock bass. You know, we didn't put it through the paces on a big giant fish, but it handled well. I will say, it's kind of interesting. There's already a little bit of discoloration on the knob. It's actually funny now that I sit here and look at my hand. My hand actually has blue on it a little bit from the knob. Maybe I'm just oily and I don't realize it, or I'm caustic to things, but that is quite interesting. It's actually a completely different color than the rest of everything else. That was the point I was making. But you know what? It's okay, I think. I don't really have a ton bad to say. It's just good, you know? So if you guys enjoyed this type of video, let me know down in the comments, or leave a like or whatever, because truthfully, I wouldn't buy this setup if it wasn't for the video. I have grown to find exactly what I like and what I use, and this is not typically what I would get. So it was fun to come out and do this. So that's it for me, you guys. If you enjoyed the video, you know, like, subscribe, all that stuff. We appreciate it, guys. We'll see you in the next one. Peace. But truthfully, the test of time will be what is the true... I have slept like 10 hours in the past 3.5 days. I got a sick kid. All right, look.
I like sat there watching your face and I was like, is he gonna pull it together? Is he gonna get the words out? And no.
I got so many chocolate chip ice creams downstairs.
I'm only here because I told me there was gonna be chocolate ice cream.
All right, what was I saying?